Its 4 University of Idaho students were killed in their off-campus home in Moscow. Last Sunday, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves were found stabbed to death. Now, a week later, Moscow police still don't have a motive, a murder weapon, or a suspect. Over the weekend, we did get a few more details about the 911 call that came in, as well as the conditions of the victims when they were found. So here are 3 things we learned throughout this weekend. Police cleared up some rumors surrounding the 911 call that was made last Sunday just before noon. They said the call was made using a surviving roommate's phone by a friend who had been called to the home. Multiple people spoke to dispatch on that call, and police say none of them are being considered suspects. The night of the murders, Madison and Kaylee reportedly called an unknown male multiple times. Police say he is also not considered a suspect. The Moscow police chief, though, has said they do not know if the victims were killed by one person or if perhaps there was another killer.
One individual kill 4 people at night and not wake up the other 2 roommates.
Our investigation will continue to look at all avenues of that investigation. I cannot disclose any of that information. I don't even know that information at this point in time, and that's why we're continuing to investigate.
In the meantime, the Latah County coroner has said the 4 students were likely asleep when they were killed. Some had some defensive wounds. Each victim was stabbed multiple times. Authorities found no signs of sexual assault. Moscow police are saying at this time in the investigation they do not believe the 2 surviving roommates or a man seen standing near a local food truck were involved in any way in the murders. Moscow PD also did share the 2 surviving roommates had been out last Saturday night but returned home by 1 a.m. and did not wake up until later on Sunday. They have also investigated the private party driver who took Kaylee and Madison home. They say they do not believe he is involved in the murders either. And today, the first funeral is being held for one of those victims, Ethan Chapin. He was the only male victim, and he was Xana's boyfriend. Both of them were killed. Crime 2's Mark Hanrahan is joining us now with more about Ethan.
Whitney, Ethan had just turned 20 years old. He was just a couple of months into his freshman year at the University of Idaho, and his parents had just visited Ethan and his siblings the weekend before police say he was killed. In his obituary, it's quoted that Ethan loved life, laughed continuously, and that he was a kind friend to all. Ethan was the firstborn of triplets and attended the University of Idaho with both his brother and his sister. Ethan was also described as an avid golfer, surfer, and loved to play volleyball and pickleball. His funeral will be held in the same town he attended school, Mount Vernon, over on the west side. Today, Ethan's mom, with his brother and sister at her side, delivered an emotional statement. Take a listen.
So my name is Stacy Chapin. I thought I could do this. Today we're here to honor the life and legacy of our son and brother, Ethan Chapin, one of the most incredible people you'll ever know. Together, we want to extend gratitude to the following. Our neighbors in Mount Vernon and LaConner, Washington, and the local communities of Priest Lake and Moscow, Idaho, for their ongoing support and care. Our extended family and friends who serve as beacons of strength and remain by our side throughout every moment. The Moscow Police Department, who now carry the burden every day, not only for us, but for all of the impacted families. And the many strangers across the country, your outreach and kind words are profoundly touching. Please know we now consider all of you friends. And lastly, we thank the media for keeping this story top of mind. Thank you.
Parents said that Ethan was sleeping over at his girlfriend Xana Kernodle's house the night that they were killed. They, like everyone else, just waiting for answers as to who killed their son and why. Whitney?
All right, Mark, thank you very much. In the meantime, there has been an incredible outpouring of emotion following this tragedy. People all across the inland Northwest looking for ways to support those families of the victims. Happening right now, the Coeur d'Alene, Texas Roadhouse, which is where Xana used to work, is holding a fundraiser in honor of all of those victims. Our Kyle Simchuk is there tonight. And Kyle, what's been the reaction from the community that you've seen tonight?
Well, just a bunch of people here. When we first got here about an hour ago, there was a line of people out the door eager to get in, asking about this fundraiser. And we also talked to some people. They had no idea there was even a fundraiser going on tonight, but they said, hey, we're going to have to order extra steaks tonight, maybe take them home. They just want to support these families as much as they can. And we do know that Zana Kernodle, one of the students killed, she worked at this Texas Roadhouse before leaving for the University of Idaho. The restaurant said in a Facebook post, she will be dearly missed. Our deepest condolences go out to families and friends of these 4 students. Now, the fundraiser will also help the other 3 families of Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogen, and Casey Gonzalez. So here's the details for tonight's event. It's from 3 to 9 p.m. The restaurant will donate 10% of sales, and if you donate $5, you'll get peanuts and a free appetizer. Now, there's also a raffle, and we're told that all of those proceeds from the raffle will go to these 4 families. I saw one person walk out with just a giant handful of yellow tickets. He says he doesn't even know what the prizes are. He doesn't care if he wins, but he donated $50, and he says that 2 of his granddaughters are going to be attending college soon, and this story has just shaken him. He's devastated for these families, as are so many other people in this community and around the country. Texas Roadhouse also has 4 posters just outside the entrance where people can sign a message for the family, and those will be delivered to family members. So again, this is going on from 3 to 9 p.m. tonight. 10% of those sales will go to the families. Whitney, send it back to you.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much. Tonight,
year is winding down in Moscow, Idaho, pretty much like everywhere else. And that means the long months of shock and fear and grief after the King Road murders may be giving way to something better. I have a case in point to make. Sigma Chi fraternity, that's Ethan Chapin's fraternity at the University of Idaho. Ethan's brothers are taking care to embrace his memory and look out for his triplet siblings, Hunter and Maisey. On Sunday night, that fraternity named Ethan's sister Maisey, right there in the middle, their official sweetheart of Sigma Chi. You can see Ethan's brother Hunter. He's like right behind her to the left with his arm up and around a friend. He's standing there behind his sister. He's also a Sigma Chi member. Those brothers then serenaded Maisey with their famous song, Sweetheart of Sigma Chi, and they each presented her with a rose. The song and the ceremony are actually world famous, recorded dozens of times, and actually made into 2 movies as well. Becoming a Sigma Chi sweetheart is a pretty big deal. There is one name for every chapter of the fraternity, and there's an international person who gets that honor as well. The sweetheart can wear the Sigma Chi letters and is considered a beacon of all that the brothers strive to be. And Maisey sounds a lot like her brother Ethan. He has been described as having the best smile and being a friend to all. And speaking of that, the Chapin family started a foundation called Ethan's Smile to keep his legacy alive, and the proceeds go to college scholarships in his name. And if you would like to help, you can go to ethanssmile.org. Sigma Chi has also started a scholarship in Ethan's name as well. Congratulations, Maisey. I'm just so glad you could be there with your brother Hunter to celebrate that, especially in your other brother's name.
Justice for Ethan, Zana, Kaylee, and Maddie. It's heartbreaking what happened to these 4 beautiful young adults. And I'm so happy and proud of Ethan, his parents, for continuing his legacy with Ethan's Smile. I hope justice is served for all these families so that they can continue creating legacies for the young adults, for their loved ones.
More than 6 months have passed since the murders at King Road, when Ethan Chapin, his girlfriend Zana Kernodle, and best friends Madison Mogen and Kaylee Gonzalez were found stabbed to death in this house near the University of Idaho campus. A tense manhunt and weeks of painful waiting for the victims' families followed before police arrested their suspect in late December. Brian Koberger was pursuing his PhD in criminal justice at Washington State University, just miles from the scene of the murders. Investigators say DNA evidence, cell phone records, and video surveillance link him to the scene that night. Kohberger's trial is set for October, the judge entering a plea of not guilty for the 4 murders after Kohberger declined to enter one himself. Ethan Chapin's family has watched from afar while holding close their memories of a beloved son and brother.
He loved everybody and everybody loved him. Everybody wanted to be around him.
Ethan's parents, Stacy and Jim Chapin, are honoring him through a foundation named Ethan's Smile. It gives scholarships to local students to attend the University of Idaho.
That kid has touched more lives. We say in our family, if we touch as many lives as he did in his 20 years, this world would be a better place.
Ethan was a triplet. His 2 siblings still attend the university. This May, graduation ceremonies were bittersweet as the school awarded Ethan a posthumous certificate. And now, Stacy Chapin has written a children's book about Ethan called The Boy Who Wore Blue. A portion of the profits will also go to the foundation, Ethan's Smile. And Stacy Chapin joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's hard to watch those images of your beloved boy. How are you doing?
It's hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's good though. I mean, all things considered, we're doing very well.
Yeah. He was a triplet. He has a brother and sister. How are they doing?
Jim and I couldn't be more proud of them, to be honest with you. They went back to school. They had they finished successfully this semester. And now they're back at work in a place that they love, and we've called summer home for a long time. So they're in a safe, great environment, and they're doing amazing. I'm so proud of them. It's amazing.
I think people are about to find out what an extraordinary family you have, Stacy, and what an extraordinary boy Ethan was. You've written this book. It's called The Boy Who Wore Blue. Tell me about writing it and what made you decide to write this story.
It started with my best friend sent me a news release that was that an author had been given the rights to the story to tell of these kids. And I, as a mom, you're like, well, how does somebody write a story about people that they don't know, right? And it did, right, about my kid. Yeah, I'm the one who's raised him, Jim and I. And it just sparked something in me. And the only thing I can explain to people how the book came about is I think it's like a country artist who goes through a breakup and writes their greatest hit. It literally just came to me in the middle of the night.
It's Ethan's song.
It's everything. Yeah, it's the best I can do for him.
I love The Boy Who Wore Blue. You had triplets, and you learn in the book that when they were little, they used to each wear a color.
They did.
And that's how you told them apart when they were babies. And he was the one who wore blue.
He was the blue.
He was a very special young man. Everybody says it. Tell me about him.
Yeah. He was that way from the very beginning, to be honest. He was born happy. He was just magnanimous, kind of. I don't know really how to explain it. What we find more interesting is how many lives he touched that we didn't even know existed. It's incredible. I mean, I tell people if I touch as many lives in my lifetime as he did in 20 years, he just swarmed every room. He had a wonderful smile.
You hear in those stories now, people are calling you and saying, I remember when Ethan did this or that.
Yes, or strangers.
Yeah.
The strangers have been amazing who have come up to us, and it always started the same way. You don't know me, but I have this story to tell you. Yeah.
What does that do for you? Is it comforting? Is it hard to kind of share your grief with this high-profile story and it's so public?
We learned our family has always tried to help everybody, and we came upon the Sigma Chi boys the morning after, and in that moment we realized that not only that it wasn't just our family healed one way, but everybody needed to heal from this, and we saw it in an instant, kind of seeing all of his friends, and it's just gone from there. It's literally we've been reached by people across the world, and it just we can see that everybody needs to heal from it, and it feels good.
You have extraordinary strength. You and your husband seem to have this resolve. You say if people want to talk to you about it, it's okay to talk about.
Yes.
It's not the elephant in the room.
Yes.
You want to talk about Ethan.
Yes.
Where does that come from, that strength, when you're dealing with the unimaginable?
We just decided that, I mean, it has its moments, of course, right? But we get up every morning and we just decided that the best thing we can do is put our best foot forward. Mostly for Maisey and Hunter. They deserve it. I mean, they didn't deserve this. And so they deserve still the best life that we can give them. And that is really our strength. It drives us. We literally get up and, you know, have coffee and then say, all right, we're going to go forward.
I was so struck by something you wrote. It was on social media earlier this year. You said, we spend no time being angry. That would be energy not well spent. And it still wouldn't change the outcome. We have to look ahead.
Yes.
That's your philosophy.
Yes. It doesn't change the outcome. Even, you know, even looking ahead at the, you know, the trial coming up in October now, we choose to not, it does not change the outcome of our family, and it's energy that we need to put into healing our kids and, you know, getting back to a new family dynamic and working on that. And so we let the prosecutors do their job, and we do our job in our family.
Do you think you'll come to the trial and attend it?
No.
Yeah. Too hard.
It doesn't change the outcome. It just is energy that doesn't feel like it's well spent. You know, there's other places to put it. So.
Ethan, as we said, was such an extraordinary young man, one of those light up the room type of people. What would you want the world to know about him? Now they know his name. What do you want them to know about him?
Honestly, I think the world sees it in the photos. I mean, you know, he's become this just, I'm looking at him, we're looking at his pictures. He was just the greatest kid. Everybody loved him. He was warm. He was inclusive. He was the kid you wanted to hang out with, you know, anywhere he was. He would play any sport. He'd play any cribbage game. I mean, he just was always game to participate in anything with a big smile and a warm heart. He was kind.
Well,
yeah.
We can see where he gets a lot of those attributes from your family, the wonderful, supportive family. And I just have to show people, you have the most beautiful new tattoo on your arm. Can we show it? It's his handwriting. I love you, Mom. Ethan. It's beautiful.
It's from McCarty.
From McCarty gave you. Yeah. Stacey, thank you so much. Highly encourage people to hear Ethan's story, the boy who wore blue.
A hard story. Ethan Chapin, one of the 4 University of Idaho students killed in November of last year. His family has been working so hard to honor his memory, and they've created a foundation in his name. His mom, Stacey, also wrote a children's book about Ethan. And Stacey Chapin shared a post on social media this past week that I saw, and I wanted to share it with all of you, and she gave me permission to tell you all about it. She told me that the whole family loves country music, especially Ethan. He really loved Morgan Wallen. And yes, these are photos of the Chapins with Wallen at a recent concert. On Mother's Day 2022, Ethan sent her a text about how Morgan Wallen had written a song for his mom and how that could be their song. She said it was such a touching moment between them, something she won't forget. And she says she listens to that song all the time. I thought you should know. That's the title of it. Morgan Wallen got wind of all this, and the Chapin family was invited to his show in San Diego. These are pictures from the after show when they got to meet him backstage. Ethan was a triplet. His brother and sister were so excited to be there too. They all got to meet Morgan, and they also met his mom. Stacey says it was an incredibly bittersweet full circle moment for all of them. And she posted, truthfully, the show would have been enough. We were all over the moon to go. And then Morgan handed us a donation check for the Ethan Smile Foundation. It was one of the kindest gestures in my life. I still can't believe it happened. Morgan, thank you for everything. So a really special moment for the Chapin family.
Rest in peace to the 4 victims. May justice be served.